So if you've watched my recent TikToks, I am trying to talk more on this app and trying to think of ways that like I can relate to people, or maybe like story times and whatnot. But maybe I'll just start with like saying some things about me. So if you don't know, my name is Catherine. I am 21. I'm born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, but for the last 2 years I've lived in Clarksville. I went to Austin Peay State University from August 2023 to April 2025. And then April 2025 to August 2nd, I went to Austin's Beauty College, which is completely separate from APSU. I went there and now I am a licensed esthetician. When I graduated from high school, I went to the psych ward maybe a couple months later, and freshly 18, by the way, so in the adult psych ward, and I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Now, it took me until 2023 or 2024 to get on medication and go to a therapist and whatnot. So I was undiagnosed for a long time, and I always knew that something wasn't right. Like, you just know. And by just knowing, I mean, as far as like being at school, like you can tell that, your brain's not thinking the same way like maybe other people's brains are thinking. So, but when I was 20, I went and started seeing a psychiatrist and got on meds, and I was also diagnosed with PTSD and generalized anxiety disorder, which are like the PTSD. I didn't know that needed to be a separate diagnosis. I thought that just came with BPD. And then the anxiety, like obviously I've had anxiety my whole life. Like that was no surprise to me. But my pretty much whole middle school through high school, like mostly middle school, I was pretty obsessed with mental health. And my mental health specifically, and my family's, it was it was definitely more of like a secretive obsession. Like I needed to figure out what was wrong with me and why something was wrong with me. I could not figure it out. And I became obsessed with mental health. Well, when it was time for me to go to college, and I decided to go, I was like, my major, if I'm gonna go to college, the only thing I would be interested in is psychology. I have to go for psychology. So that's what I went for. I went for psychology for almost 2 years, and it was very boring and it was very depressing, and I very quickly realized this is not the field for me like I thought it was. And that's when I realized that the character traits that I have, who I am as a person, that those reasons why I wanted to go into psychology and be a therapist and be helpful to people, I don't have to do with a psychology degree. There are other ways for me to do that. And this was one of the biggest lessons in life for me, and the biggest, most important turning point in my life was realizing that everything is not so obvious and nothing is set in stone, and that it is so important to keep an open mind to change. I took a very big leap of faith and dropped out of college and risked upsetting some people. Dropped out of college and went to beauty school, which is still college, but it's not university and it's not a bachelor's degree. So the part of me that loves taking care of people, that wants to help people, that wants to be able to be there for people and listen to people and give advice and whatnot, I still do that as an esthetician. I still do that when I'm giving facials. Like, I've had maybe 2 or 3 quiet facials. Other than that, I have had very open conversations with all my clients, at least in school. So I guess I didn't let my obsession really get the best of me in the long run. I became so focused on it that it was depressing. like with mental health, which if you focus on something that's so negative for so long, like it'll take that toll on you and you can't think of anything else. And it took me a while to like get out of that. Like not everything has to be about mental health. Not everything has to be about depression, anxiety, trauma. Not everything has to be about that. Sometimes you just have to like live life. Sometimes you just have to let the fuck go and stop thinking about all your problems and just live life. But anyways, I still care about mental health, of course. I think it's just something that it's hard. It's almost like I got obsessed with it, and I don't want to get obsessed with it again because I really hyperfixate on things like that. And I don't want to fixate on it again. And I don't think I will, but I do like talking about it. I think I have different opinions on it now than I used to. I think I don't have as acceptable opinions on it now. I think my opinions would be controversial on it, which I don't think a lot of people are ready to hear it because I don't think I'm the only one in my generation that has an obsession with mental health or has had. Like, I think a lot of people are obsessed with the idea of mental health, and I think that's exactly why I don't think it's healthy. I think sometimes you just have to, like, there's a healthy amount of, mental health matters and stuff. I think it can get very unhealthy very quickly. This video is so long. It is so easy for me to just talk and talk. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I don't know. I'm just trying to post more and talk more. I ran out of video ideas thus far where I'm like, I don't have to talk and I'm just captioning stuff and whatnot. So, but I can yap and I can talk. I have a lot of ideas and opinions, and a lot of them can be controversial. Maybe I'll start sharing them and risk getting canceled. I don't know. We'll see.